Hi, I'm Paul Friedman. I'm the founder of the Marriage Foundation, and I've got a great topic for you. We're going to talk about marriage because that's why we're here. Hopefully you're already a subscriber. And what we're going to do is we're going to approach this in a way no one has ever approached this topic before. This is, why does my wife get so defensive, and what can I do? And when I say no one has ever done this before the way I do it, is because we at the Marriage Foundation, and I founded it, recognize marriage as a spiritual path, not a religious, a spiritual path. And so the context for how we see marriage at the Marriage Foundation is completely different from a Western psychological perspective. You see, we recognize that we are all souls. We have a body, we have a mind, but it belongs to us. They are our servants. We are in charge as a soul, but we're not in charge because we've given it up. We allow our mind to run us, and this is a huge problem when you're married. In fact, I say this: if you're not able to master your mind, you cannot be thoroughly happy. You can enjoy fleeting happiness, because happiness that comes from outer things is always fleeting. But that inner happiness, why you got married, you can't enjoy that. So, what is defensiveness? I'm going to explain this to you very scientifically. Whoa, you just said you're spiritual. Yeah, it's spiritual. You're spiritual. I'm spiritual. We're all spiritual by definition. But we have a mind. The mind is not spiritual. We want to spiritualize it. We want to uplift it, but it is not spiritual. Think of the mind as a computer that you own, and it interacts with the world. It puts information out, pulls information in, but you're the one who's ultimately in charge. So the mind, think of it as a standalone that you are not governing. And so its habits, its instincts, its inner reactions that it has had for eons is controlling you. Now, why defensiveness? Why is she defensive? Let me tell you, you are too. You're also defensive. All of us are. The reason why is because the connection between the body, another possession, and the mind is an intelligent connection without words. But what happens is the body, and you know this from science class, maybe in the 7th grade, I don't know anymore, long time since I've been in school. But we know that life is called living because it is all about self-preservation. From the tiniest single cell to our bodies, which are comprised of trillions of cells, it's all about self-preservation. Biologically, that's it. All the body cares for, as a result of this embedded, hardwired attribute, all it cares about is air, food, water, shelter, and so forth. And it's wanting opportunities all the time. Self-preservation is the name of the game for everything biological. Now, if we don't stop the reaction that our mind is having to these impulses from the body, we become slaves to this drive to survive. And we all are, to one degree or another. Are you afraid of death? Are you afraid of being fired? Are you afraid of losing money? Are you afraid of your house burning down or your apartment being robbed? These are all fears initiated at that level of the biology of the body. And it pings the mind and it says, fear, be afraid, watch out, be alert. I'll give you a great example of how this is operating all the time. If you go up to the top of a hill, beautiful view, or you go to the edge of the ocean, and you look out, or even a big lake, some big expanse, because you're a man, this really works for you as a man, because what happens is you feel calm, you feel relaxed. It's a good feeling. It's driven subconsciously. Why? Because you can see far. You can hear everything. So that animal aspect of your body, which is pinging the mind's going, I'm cool, I can see. Nothing's going to sneak up on me. All that's into play. Now, as we evolve and we become human beings, what happens is this fear, driven by the drive to survive, now takes on different garments. So what if the boss is mad at us? Well, that is pinging the drive to survive, right? What if we're short of money in our credit card? Whoa, drive to survive comes into play. All of us have it to one degree or another. Now, as her husband, your role, literally, and this goes way down deep into very low, deep levels of the subconscious mind, you're there to protect her. That's part of why she married you. You know, there's a spiritual and a biological and a psychological reason why we marry each other. And the psychological, biological reason for a woman is for that protection. And the man's role is to provide that protection for her and her offspring. We think, well, it's my offspring too, but it's not really. It's her offspring. And we are there to protect our offspring, because in our society we've accepted that. But biologically speaking, it's hers, but it's ours. You're there to protect her, protect the children. It's your role. It is. Irrefutable. So what happens is, because when we get married, we're not taught how to be married. We're not taught. In this world, there is no knowledge about marriage. That's why I became a marriage helper. I used to be a divorce mediator. It was over 22 years ago. And so I had a couple who wanted me to save their marriage instead of end it for them. I didn't know where to begin. I talked to my psychologist friends. I love them. They're very good people. They only want to help. But I realized they didn't know anything about marriage. So I dove deep. I discovered things about marriage that are mind-boggling. Now we're starting to train counselors again. I trained a bunch of counselors 2012. Now we have an online course. If you're interested, please sign up. We need counselors. And you'll learn all this stuff, the biology, the psychology, and not like Western psychology. And you'll learn the essence of marriage. So she depends upon you to be her protector. But what happens? What happens is, and I've outlined 3 killers of marriage, and that's in my books. And what happens is, we start taking each other for granted. She takes you for granted, you take her for granted, you yell and scream at each other, you argue with each other, you put each other down, you're sarcastic with one another, you treat each other like brothers and sisters who don't get along instead of husband and wife. Because a husband and wife, you're supposed to be purely about love, purely about raising the consciousness of your marriage every single day. That's what marriage is for. But instead, you took each other for granted. I call it over-familiarity. This over-familiarity means that she no longer trusts you to fulfill that role as her protector. And so you just become another person in the world. Can't trust you. And she's in this situation called marriage, not in this heavenly abode, which I call the sacred space of marriage. She's in this situation now called marriage. And so not only is she defensive with the rest of the world, she's even more defensive with you, because she married you for love, and you've betrayed that ideal by treating her less than. You probably treat other people better than you treat your wife. Tell the truth. I know it's true because of all the people I've worked with over the years. We've been doing this for over 20 years. So what do you do? Because the question is, what can I do? Number one, start watching how you are behaving with her and recognize that it is not protectively. It is adversarially. And stop all of that. And replace all of that with proactive love. That's what you could do. You could learn to cultivate that love that you already have for her and turn it into something that she treasures by virtue of it's worthy of its treasure. And ignore her flaws in the process. Don't do a tit for tat thing. You married her because you love her. Show her, no matter how she's behaving. You know, in most vows, it's better or worse. So you ignore the worse. You don't take it on. You just ignore it. And you learn to love her. And you just give her so much love. You sweep her off her feet with love, consideration. You know how to do it because you did it when you were dating. And that's what it calls for again. Have you subscribed to this channel yet? It's about time you did, don't you think? This is good stuff. It may sound like I'm bragging, and maybe I am, but I feel like I discovered it. I want to share it with everybody. This is really good stuff. How do I know? Look at our reviews. People who use this stuff, their lives are totally turned around because it's a spiritual path. I've redefined marriage. Marriage is an individual spiritual path that two people take together. Two soulmates take together. We're souls. We're souls. Not religious. It's just what we are. We're souls. We have a body and we have a mind, but we're essentially spiritual. Love is spiritual. It doesn't get more spiritual than love. Happiness, too, is spiritual. I'm not talking about the fleeting kind when you buy a new car. I'm talking about the kind that is deep within, that every day, did you know this? You're supposed to feel better every single day. It's the truth. So that's it. Hopefully you like this video. Hopefully you're a subscriber. Hopefully you will leave a positive message in the comment section. And hopefully you will watch these videos and learn and maybe go further, get one of the books, maybe even take the course for men so you can have a phenomenal marriage like I have and like many have. Thousands have taken the courses, by the way, thousands. There's no reason why you can't. It's so affordable, it's ridiculous. Thank you for visiting. I'm Paul Friedman. I founded the Marriage Foundation. God bless you and take care. Take care.